Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Meg. I am a yoga teacher, a masseuse and a beautician. And today I wanted to talk about Gua Sha, which is these little tools. I think they're all over the media, social media at the moment. They're really big. So I just want to talk a little bit about what they are, what they do, the science behind them, how to use them properly, and yeah, some of the benefits of them as well. So if you do enjoy this video, please subscribe, please like, leave me reviews, message me, whatever you feel like you'd like to do. And yeah, let's get started. I mean, there is so much in the media about Gua Sha. I mean, just scrolling through right now. What does it do to your face? What is it? How does it actually work? Does it make your face slimmer? How quickly do you see results? I mean, does Gua Sha help with the double chin? How often should you use it? Is it permanent? Does it reduce belly fat? There's so many different things. So much. Okay, there's a lot to cover here. I think some of the most important things with this would be to say that make sure you're getting your information from someone who is a professional, who is trained in it, because you can damage your skin from doing Gua Sha wrong. So if you are going to follow someone on maybe TikTok or something like that, just make sure that they have good credentials and they know what they're talking about, because the last thing you want to do is try something that's going to affect your skin in the future. So let's just go into what Gua Sha is. Gua Sha is an ancient Chinese method. Gua means scraping and Sha means sand. So basically what we're doing is we're just taking the tool and lightly going over the skin. So Gua Sha are little stone tools. Well, most of them are stone. You can get wooden ones as well. And they're kind of in this sort of shape. I have one here which annoyingly broke, but it would have been in like a long shape. And then I've got some more here. So as you can see, mine are different colours. So the green ones are made out of jade and the pink ones are made out of rose quartz. You can get them in different crystals as well. I think you can get them in normal quartz as well. If you're going to get a roller or tool that is made from a crystal, I would invest in getting a proper crystal. Not just because of the properties that sit behind it. I do personally, I like the idea that they do something, and they tend to have a little bit more, because they're a bit more expensive, because they're made out of a proper material. They do tend to be a little bit more durable. They cool nicer in the fridge. They're nicer to touch. The way you can tell if it's a real crystal or not is you will see ever so slight imperfections on the top. I don't know if this camera is going to be good enough to see any imperfections. No, it just looks pretty perfect. But you will see tiny, like little tiny dips. If it's completely smooth and perfect, the chances are it's not a real crystal. I would always suggest that you keep your crystal tools in a box. I travel a lot and they do break. And if you've got an expensive one, that is not what you want. So I was the muppet who put these in their skincare bag and was like, it'll be fine, it's a crystal, what's the worst that can happen? And then got home and realised that this is the worst that can happen. But yes, so making sure that you keep them in their box. It also helps to keep them sanitary as well. So you can wash your Gua Sha tools sort of after 3 or 4 times. I like to do it after every single time. I personally get quite acne prone skin, so I just like to keep on top of everything, and all I literally do is with a little bit of hand soap, as I'm washing my hands, I'll just wash it with the tool in it, and then I'll pop it on a little towel to dry, or I'll just dry it with a hand towel and then pop it back in its box. That's simple. You don't need to worry about, you know, using alcohol spritzing, or I mean you can use hand sanitizer. I've heard some people doing that before, but to wash the oil away properly, I would say use a bit of soap. How it works, so the science behind it, is that it's kind of got a few elements to it. So if we break those down, your first element is very similar to massage. It's going to have the same sort of benefits as if you were massaging your face. You're going to create lymph drainage, you're going to take oxygen to the area, you're going to increase blood flow, which helps with healing, it helps with detoxification. And basically what we're doing with the Gua Sha is we're running it over the skin. So we're kind of, I guess, scraping the skin, but very, very gently and very lightly. It will move the lymph, which is what sits under your skin. So your skin has got 3 layers: your epidermis, your dermis, and your subcutaneous layer, or the hypodermis, I think. But I've always, from college, remembered it as the from the subcutaneous layer. And underneath that sits your lymphatic system. So lymph is like this clear liquid that holds toxins, and from doing any sort of movement or anything at all, that will move your lymph. So if I go like this, that's going to move the lymph in my hand and in my fingers as well. But even like movement, so if I do this, that's going to move the lymph a little bit, which is why exercise is another benefit, because you're moving your lymph system, you're getting your lymph system working. So basically what Gua Sha will do is it will take that lymph to a lymph node. So a lymph node will then take on the lymph and it will process the toxins that are there. So that is kind of the main purpose, which again is very similar to massage, and that's kind of the science behind Gua Sha. If you pop your Gua Sha in the fridge, it can go cold because they're made out of crystals, so they're fine to go in the fridge. So you can then use that, and that helps to kind of firm up your skin. It's good if you suffer with redness or rosacea. So these are some of the things that Gua Sha will do. It also, depending on what material it's made out of, if you believe in crystal therapies or believe that crystals have properties, then certain crystals will benefit in different ways. For example, quartz is said to be very good for eliminating negative energy. They kind of have that added benefit as well. You can also put these tools in the fridge, so then when you use them, they're nice and cold on your skin, and that helps with inflammation. It helps with, for example, if you've got really sensitive skin, and it helps to tighten up your pores as well and just sort of firm the skin a little bit. It may not be a permanent thing, but it will help with that a little bit. One thing I found as well, so you do have to be careful with Gua Sha that you don't use it on acne or any open skin, because you can get bacteria into that area and you can pull on it and you can spread the acne, for example. One thing I have done in the past is I have a roller, and it's got a small side and a big side, and then the big side, because you're not dragging on the skin and you're very gentle with it, and you don't really need to put any oil on the area or anything like that if you are using a roller, because it rolls, so you're not dragging on the skin. I have put that in the fridge before and then used it on somewhere if I have got a bit of acne, but then I will wash the tool straight away. And it's only if, like, you know, if you get like a really sore spot and you put ice on it to try and bring it down, same sort of thing. If the spot is really, really inflamed and sore to the touch and like really painful, I won't do it. Because I basically don't want to be pressing at all on that spot, and I will just put ice straight on it, or just leave it alone completely, use products on it. But if it's not too bad, or if it's healing, I'll use that, and it will just cool it down and keep that inflammation at bay. A lot of the things it promises is anti-aging, it promises anti-wrinkles. It's one of those things where in social media, I think it gets a lot of hype, and I'm not saying it doesn't deserve that hype, but I think it needs to be said that it's not magic. You can't just use this, and it's the same with all skincare. You can't just use one thing and then expect a miracle. You can't just use Gua Sha tools and smoke, or you know, not sleep well, or have an unhealthy diet, or vape, or anything like that, and expect to have all of the benefits. All these things add up to create bad skin. So Gua Sha is a really good added benefit into your skincare routine because it helps with kind of getting product into the skin. It helps to firm your muscles. It helps with like inflammation. Like I said, it helps with everything that I said before. But you do still need to be having a healthy lifestyle, drinking plenty of water, eating the right food, and not smoking or drinking too much, or taking any recreational drugs, or you know, any sort of toxins that are going to damage your skin. We know this. You're taught this. We all know what's good and what isn't good for us, and there's a reason why it's good for us and why it isn't good for us. And you can't do things that aren't good for you and expect to reap the same rewards. Unfortunately, it just doesn't work like that. So Gua Sha benefits pretty much all skin types. It's really good for helping to prevent aging, mainly because what you're doing is, when you use it, is you'll put an oil onto the skin and then you'll use it. Traditionally, usually that's what you'll do, especially like before bed. Obviously, getting moisture into your skin is going to be the best thing you can do for anti-aging. Then on top of that, the fact that you're kind of stretching, you're working that muscle as you're massaging it, that is going to firm that muscle. It's the same with exercise. If you don't tone up, if you don't do exercises that tone somewhere up, chances are it's going to get a little bit saggy. The more you tone and the more you work out in that muscle, the tighter it gets. So it's not a miracle cure and it's not going to be magic, but it will make a big difference. It will benefit someone with sensitive skin a lot because you can use it without oil. So if you're that sensitive that you can't use anything on your skin at all because the tools are so gentle, or even just using a roller is probably the best thing. It means you don't need to have a slippery surface on the skin. You can just roll it over and you're still moving that lymph, you're still getting that benefit, but you don't have to put any products on your skin. If you have oily prone skin, it can be good because it cools the skin down. So if you've got a quite angry skin, some people who have really oily prone skin tend to have angrier skin, and also they can have enlarged pores, and this can help because heat enlarges pores and cool shrinks them down. That's why we tone after we cleanse, because the cleanser, as you're using the hot flannel and you're rubbing it into your skin, and the oil will encourage it all to open up. Using the toner, which is cold, will then help to tense it back up down, so you're closing that pore back up. And that's what Gua Sha will do, especially if you put it in the fridge. These haven't been in the fridge and they are cold at the moment, like cold to the touch. And they just feel really soothing over the skin. They're quite good for helping with sleep. I've often found if I'm struggling to fall asleep, and I'll just get up and literally do a facial massage with them. And I think because you're counting as you're massaging, and then you're giving yourself a bit of attention, and they are really soft. So yeah, they do help with sleep. I'm trying to think what other skin types you've got. Dry, obviously, it's going to help across the board in some way. With dry skin, it's going to be good because you're using an oil and you're encouraging that oil to get into your skin. You're massaging it into your skin. And if you've got dry skin, you need to give that skin moisture. And that's the same for anti-aging as well. Aging skin tends to be more on the dry side, so obviously again we want to be getting as much moisture into the skin as possible. How often should you do Gua Sha? So I would say probably about 3 to 4 times a week. It's the same as having a massage. If you go and have a massage every single day, and I hear this as a masseuse all the time, people are like, oh, I'd love to have this every day, but you need to give your muscles a chance to actually rejuvenate afterwards. Although Gua Sha is not a particularly intense massage because you're only lightly running over the skin, you do still want to give your body that chance to detox, process what's happened and to go through that healing process, and then you'll find more benefits. That being said, I do use the roller most mornings just because it cools my skin down and I just love it so much. So as long as you're doing it properly and you're gentle, I wouldn't sit there maybe and do like a 45-minute Gua Sha massage every single night. I mean, first of all, who has the time for that? Second of all, it's a lot for your skin to process. Too much can be too much. So one of the questions was, does Gua Sha make your face slimmer? No. Same way that if you massage your arm, will it get slimmer? No. It might tone it and firm it a little bit more, but it's more because you're looking after the skin that it's going to tone the skin a little bit more. The only way it could also slim your face is if you've got a puffy face, maybe because of an allergy or something like that, because there's more water retention. What that's going to do is take that toxin water and the lymph to the lymph node to then help to sort it out. So that's the only way that it's going to really slim your face. Like if you've got a double chin and you think that Gua Sha is going to magically fix it, it's not. You have to do a bit of a lifestyle change, and you'd be better off doing like facial yoga exercises because you're actually physically toning up that muscle rather than just using a tool. I can kind of see the logic behind people thinking it makes your face slimmer, but I can't see it making a huge difference to making your face look slimmer. You can also use Gua Sha on your body using the tool again. Like you'll use the long side and you'll run it across, again very lightly. We're not doing anything crazy here, and that helps to just take the lymph to the lymph node. I think it's really beneficial on your tummy because, and like chest area, because you can get a lot of toxic buildup in these areas. A lot of people who suffer with like IBS and things like that, because you're not doing a really firm massage or anything like that, you're just moving the toxins, moving the lymph, starting a detoxing process with Gua Sha. It's a gentle way of helping to keep bloating at bay without it being really intense. So in ancient Chinese medicine, they believe that it also helps to remove stagnant qi. So that's like stagnant energy within the body. So you're kind of, it's the same sort of thing. It's moving and processing, you're detoxing, you're rejuvenating. So I'm going to show you how Gua Sha works. So some of the most important things to do is to make sure you've completely washed your face, washed your hands and washed your tools. This is the most important thing because we don't want to be spreading any bacteria around the face, especially anything that can cause breakouts. So that is by far the most important step, I would say, is to make sure that you are not using dirty tools or using dirty hands, or make sure any makeup that's on your face has come off and your skin is completely clean and clear and ready. So I've already cleansed my skin, toned my skin, put some moisturizer on. I would also say before you do Gua Sha is to put on some oil, and this is because we want the skin to be slipping. So I've read on a lot of different websites, and some people recommend that you use Gua Sha quite firmly. Do not do this at all. You don't need to, apart from anything else. All you're going to do is pull on your skin, and your skin is fragile, so we want to keep it as healthy as possible. So all you're doing with Gua Sha, and the reason it's so gentle, is we're moving something called the lymph, which sits underneath your skin. So your skin has three main layers: your dermis, epidermis and subcutaneous layer. So your lymph system sits just under that, and you've got lymph all underneath your skin, and then you have lymph nodes. And what the lymph does is it holds sort of toxins from the body, and then we take those toxins with using the lymph to the lymph nodes. So any sort of movement at all moves your lymph. If I do this really lightly across my skin, I'm moving the lymph towards the lymph node. Even movement causes the lymph to move. So when you're using Gua Sha, there's no need to have a really firm pull as you use it, because it's completely pointless. It's only gonna damage your skin, pull on your skin, rather than that nice glide, which is what we need. So I'm now gonna get my oil and pop that on. So I'm just gonna use rosehip oil, partly because it's the first one that came out of my bag, but also rosehip oil is lovely. If you've got oil prone skin, I would use something like jojoba. You could use rosehip oil as well. You want something that's a non-comedogenic, and this means that it's not gonna clog up your pores. So with Gua Sha, we always want to be moving towards a lymph node. So you've got lymph nodes across here, you've got lymph nodes running up here, you've got lymph nodes here. This is on both sides, by the way. You've got one that sits behind the ear, and then you've got them sort of around the ear as well. You've got some that sit around here, and then you've got lymph nodes around the eyes. I think you've got one up here as well, and possibly one there. I'm trying to remember back to when I was in college. But basically we always want to be lifting up and lifting towards the lymph node. This is so that we're taking that lymph that's sitting under the skin towards the lymph node, so any toxins that are in that lymph then get processed by the lymph nodes. So I always start off with this tool. I have quite a few different Gua Sha tools. This is kind of the most well known. It's like the little heart-shaped one. Yeah, your most well-known tool. So I will use it from different areas. So to begin with, I always start on the neck, because I'm always working upwards towards the lymph node. As you can see here, that you kind of learn as you use it where is best on your skin, but this is basically shaped to fit the contours of your face. So starting from the bottom, you want to hold this at about a 30 to 40 degree angle, and just lifting up, 2, 3. You can do these about 3 to 5 times. So I tend to separate the neck into 4, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you're just running the tool over your skin. 4, 5, and then this bit, kind of this dip sits perfectly in your chin and your jawline, so you can use that to go all the way up. Three, 4, 5. You've got this kind of curve here, I find, because I've got quite high cheekbones, that it's almost like I sit that just underneath the cheekbone and then come up. 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go across and up. And then from the chin, the forehead, I tend to start in the centre, working up. And then what I do is I then take the lymph up, take it out to the side. This is where I come down, because I'm taking it down and in towards my ear. So when I trained in for Espa, the skincare company, this is what they do at the end of their facial routines. So you will move the lymph just with your fingers really lightly at the end of a facial massage, and then you'll take the lymph, take it all the way down and in towards the ear. And I always like that. So this is the only time that I go down, but we are still taking that lymph towards the lymph node. And then you can then just take this all the way down into the axillary lymph node, which is in here. And again, this is what I used to do, what I was trained to do when I trained with Espa. Perfect. I then have, I actually broke this. I would say if you've broken one of your tools, don't use it, and this is why, because that is the end. So originally it was one long tool that you'd use on your eyes, and it's obviously snapped and broken. I think it broke when I moved house, but because I still have like a good amount of grip on them, I still use them. But I mean, like, I've got one here that I've just got to show you basically, which was the original heart-shaped tool. That was a rose quartz one that's broken, and it's quite sharp at the edges, so I wouldn't use that in case I slipped. So just be mindful. I know I'm being a little bit hypocritical using this, but like, as you can see when I'm holding it, there is no way that the sharp edges are going to catch my skin, and I'm only using this around the eye area. You can also use this to sort of stimulate different nodes, different pressure points. Like, you obviously have your temple here. You then have a pressure point that sits kind of just behind the jaw. And this is gonna, if you grind your teeth in your sleep, this is a really, 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 really good massage to do. Sorry, it feels really nice. I am someone who grinds their teeth a lot, so this kind of massage is so good, and you can actually feel it. It's the same as well if you get blocked up ears, obviously, as long as you don't have any sort of doctors telling you not to do this, but if you've had a cold or anything like that, this is going to open up all of your sinuses. But I'm still just running the tools over really lightly. What other ones have I got? Oh, this one's for your eyes. So you've got like, it's like a little mushroom. So you can use this under the eyes to lift and lift. Maybe work into the temple a little bit. You've also got in here, I always find I get a lot of tension in there. So that is associated, this point here is associated with eye strain, so I always like to just work into there a little bit. And then I also have a jade roller, which you've probably seen. There was a massive trend a little while ago where everyone was using these. I actually love this. I mean, I use this on my eyes a heck of a lot, because apart from anything else, it just feels really nice. And it's such an easy way to get the tool to glide over your skin without kind of pressing or having to worry about anything. But I use the small bit on my eyes, and they're really cold as well. I often keep my tools in the fridge, which A, helps to keep them sanitary, and B, they feel really cold on your skin, so they feel really nice and they kind of soothe your skin. They help with any, I use the biggest side for like my cheeks and just rolling it again up towards the lymph node. Yeah, for any inflammation. I need to stress as well that if you've got inflamed acne, don't use this. Any broken skin, don't do any Gua Sha on it, because you don't want to, on those open cracked pieces of skin, you don't want to put any bacteria into them at all. So you can work around it, but just don't work over the acne or any broken skin. Perfect, so that is what I do with my Gua Sha. There are so many other tools. They're probably the most common ones. I think they're the ones I see the most on social media. Yeah, so now I'm gonna go, and I tend to, if it's the evening, sometimes I'll just sort of sleep with this oil on my skin just to kind of give it that overnight hydration. There was a phase a little while ago where people were doing, I can't remember the name of it. They called it a name, but where you like covered and drenched your skin in oil to sleep in. I would not recommend doing that. Like, the amount of oil I have on my skin at the moment is plenty, like, to go to bed with. You don't want to get it all over your pillows, because you're going to end up possibly encouraging bacteria and then getting spotty, and your skin only takes in so much, so it's just a product waste as well. So if I'm going to go to sleep straight after I've done a Gua Sha massage, I will then just sort of leave this on. I might sort of pat it a little bit or work it in with my fingers. Because my fingers are warm, it then means that it works into the skin a little bit more. In the beginning, before you do your massage, you shouldn't be completely drenching the skin in oil anyway. It's just enough so that you've got a slip without it pulling. So I think the best way to describe this, actually, I think I did a video on this a little while ago, where if you've got a cotton pillowcase and a silk pillowcase, cotton pillowcase, if you pull, you can see it wrinkling, and you can see you can see it all bunching up and it pulling on that material. That's like your skin without any oil on it. A silk pillowcase, if you glide your fingers over it, it doesn't do that. The silk just sort of sits underneath it because it's silky. And this is what we want for our skin. We just want to be gliding over it. We don't want to be pulling at it. If it's the morning, I tend to go and just do another cleanse, a really gentle one, and just wash it off like using an oil-based cleanser. And then I'll go in and tone again, and then put on a light moisturizer and sun cream, and then I'll put my makeup on over the top of that. But I tend to do Gua Sha in the evening. I think a lot of people do it in the morning. Sometimes I'll use just the roller in the morning, because you don't really need oil with this because it rolls, so it's not going to pull on your skin. So often I'll use that in the morning, and that kind of wakes my skin up, refreshes it, kind of firms it up because it's cold. And then in the evening I'll do like more of a relaxing massage where I can sit and I can take my time and I can enjoy the process when I'm not dashing around and rushing in the morning and trying to get ready. So yeah, it's important that you don't have any oil underneath your makeup, or like a huge amount of it. So definitely make sure that you take this oil off. So I'm now going to go and take this all off and get ready for the day, because it is morning here. And I hope this video was helpful and useful, and I hope it encourages you to use Gua Sha properly. So I hope this answered any of your questions, and I hope it has kind of encouraged you to use Gua Sha as well. And I hope that, yeah, you start incorporating it into your skin routine. Again, full disclaimer, if you don't have a good lifestyle and you're not using the right, you're not drinking plenty of water, you're not eating the right foods, exercising, having fresh air, using sun cream, all these things that are really important for your skin. If you're not doing that, then using Gua Sha alone is not going to make that much of a difference, but it is perfect to add into your skin routine. It does make a difference. I definitely notice when I haven't used it. If I've gone a couple of weeks where I've been really busy and I can't use it, I definitely see a difference in my face and in my skin. Apart from anything else, my skin just feels a bit more calmer. It's easier to apply makeup weirdly as well, I find, if I've done it, and I think that's just because it does tighten and firm and it smooths the skin out. And I guess as well, if I'm not using my Gua Sha, I'm probably not doing a really good skin routine at the time, so the two work hand in hand, I guess. But yeah, I hope this kind of encourages you guys to have a play and experiment with it, and I hope that, yeah, you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, please subscribe. If you've ever got any questions about beauty or yoga or anything like that at all and you'd like me to do a video on it, please send me a message below. And yes, I look forward to seeing you again soon with another video on some different content. Have a good rest of the day or night or evening or whatever time it is for you, wherever you are, and I'll see you again soon. Thanks, bye.